They say a man can feel the tremor before the quake, the tension before the tear. I didn't. To me, it was just another Tuesday. I came home to the usual, shoes by the door, faint scent of rosemary chicken in the oven, and Lisa, my wife of 8 years, humming a soft tune off-key. I remember thinking she looked peaceful, back turned as she diced vegetables like she was auditioning for a cooking show no one watched. "Hey, honey," I said, loosening my tie and dropping my keys into the bowl near the door. "Smells great." She glanced over her shoulder and smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. Not that I noticed then. Hindsight, as they say, has a mean streak. "Dinner in 10, she replied. "How was work?" "Same circus, different monkeys," I joked. That used to make her laugh. This time, she just nodded. We ate in silence. That wasn't unusual anymore. The trouble didn't announce itself with fanfare. No slammed doors or perfume-soaked letters on the table. It showed up subtly, like mold under fresh paint. A phone that always vibrated face down. A laugh too quick when reading work texts. A perfume I didn't recognize. Still, I was clueless. I chalked it up to stress. Maybe we were in a lull, a phase. Married life has those, right? But then came the message. 3 words, no frills. "You should know." No name. No number. Just that. Sent to my phone at 11:34 p.m. on a Friday night. Now, a smarter man might have ignored it. Or asked calmly. But I spent the next 2 hours going through old receipts, laptop browser histories, and every ounce of self-respect I had left. And I found it. Not a smoking gun. No, those are too kind. I found a calendar invite. Lunch with Nick, the usual spot clinking glasses red heart. Nick was her coworker. The one who told bad jokes at Christmas parties and called me buddy too many times. The next morning, I didn't confront her. I didn't scream. I made her coffee. Just how she liked it, 2 sugars, a whisper of cinnamon, and the teaspoon that never matched the rest of the set. Because I wasn't ready to explode. Not yet. I was still calculating the depth of the betrayal. And when I finally made my move, oh, she'd feel it. Not with fists or fire, but with silence, precision, and the kind of reckoning that doesn't come with a warning shot. I started small, quietly. While Lisa slept, peacefully, smugly, I became a student of her schedule. I memorized the cadence of her day, the predictable choreography of someone who no longer feared being watched. She was sloppy, and betrayal has a scent when you know what to sniff for. First step? Tech. She'd given me her old iPad months ago, claimed it was too slow for work. Turns out, she never bothered logging out of her cloud account. Rookie mistake. Within hours, I was syncing messages, photos, calendar entries. The photos came first. Most were innocent, until they weren't. A dinner here. A work outing there. Him. Always Nick. Always smiling like a man who'd just stolen your seat and your life. Then came the chats. They weren't even clever. Just lazy digital flings wrapped in emojis and half-finished sentences. Still thinking about last night's smirking face. "Tell your husband you're working late again, LOL." LOL indeed. That night, I watched her brush her teeth, humming again. Always humming. I leaned against the doorframe. "Long day tomorrow?" I asked casually. She nodded through a mouthful of toothpaste. "Back-to-back meetings. You know how it is." I did. Just not in the way she thought. "Need anything ironed?" That made her pause. "No, I'm good. Thanks though." "Sure," I said, smiling. "Anything for my wife." She smiled back. She didn't see it. The calm before my storm. I spent the next day laying bricks for my exit, or maybe my entrance into something new. Copies of files saved. Financial statements printed and stashed. I even dug out the prenup she insisted we didn't need, back when love made us blind and stupid. Her signature looked so elegant next to mine. Elegant and temporary. And just as I finished backing up her entire email archive onto a drive labeled Vacation Photos, I got a ping. A new event. Added to her calendar. Getaway with Inn Cabin 3 p.m. Saturday. No last name. No details. Just that coy little inn, tucked between a smiley face and a pine tree emoji. The kind of secrecy that screams confession. And that was it. I didn't confront her. I didn't even breathe heavy. I just clicked print. Because if she was building her new life, I was setting fire to the blueprint. Saturday arrived like any other day, sunlight through the blinds, the neighbor's dog barking, the faint sizzle of betrayal on the griddle. Lisa wore a hoodie and leggings, the innocent look, casual enough to imply errands, cozy enough to pack a weekend bag without questions. Going to see Jenna, she said, tossing a gym duffel over her shoulder like it didn't carry lies. Girls' weekend. I'll be back tomorrow. I nodded. Tell her I said hi. She hesitated. Maybe from guilt, maybe from poor acting, but she kissed my cheek anyway. Her lips were cold. The door shut, and so did any chance of reconciliation. She drove a silver SUV. I followed in the navy sedan she never noticed in our garage. 2 car lengths behind. Windows down. No music. Just me, her, and the road pulling the curtain on our story. They met at a gas station on Route 12. Not Jenna. Nick. Of course. He got out of his car like he owned the day. Leather jacket, backwards cap. The swagger of a man who thought married woman was just a challenge with extra steps. She hugged him like she hadn't done anything wrong. Like I wasn't 3 cars back, gripping the steering wheel like it owed me answers. I watched them drive north. Watched them park. Watched them disappear into a rental cabin behind rows of sugar maples and denial. And I didn't storm in, because I wasn't looking for a scene. I was looking for certainty. I parked down the hill, by the maintenance shed, and waited. Not with binoculars or a camera. Just a phone. Just a quiet kind of fury that knows how to sit still. They reemerged 2 hours later, laughing. Nick shirtless. Lisa in a robe that wasn't hers. She tossed her hair like she was 20 again. He pulled her close like he was proud. That was when I recorded it. A simple video. No commentary. Just reality. Later that night, I sat in my car, watching the glow of their cabin through the trees. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just whispered, "You chose him." Not because it hurt, but because it finally made sense. The drive home felt colder than it should have. The heater in my car worked fine. But you can't warm a man from the outside when he's frozen from the inside. I didn't play music. I didn't talk to myself. I just stared at the road like it owed me closure. By the time I pulled into the driveway, I had no doubt. She was gone, whether she lived here or not. Lisa had vacated our marriage months ago. All I'd done was catch up to the facts. And now? Now I had a decision to make. Revenge, you see, has 2 gears. One is messy, loud, and fast. The other? Silent, surgical, and unforgettable. I had no interest in tantrums. I wasn't going to key her car, scream on social media, or throw her clothes on the lawn like some budget soap opera character. I had too much pride for that. But what I did have: time, patience, and a deep, unsettling calm. I opened the safe that night. Not because I needed money, but because I needed history. Marriage licenses, insurance policies, mortgage agreements. Paperwork with our names joined together in legal optimism. I placed each document on the dining room table like a blueprint to a life we never actually built. Then I opened my laptop. I wasn't a hacker, but I wasn't helpless either. I found Nick's LinkedIn, his Facebook, his gym's address, even his old college blog, still floating in some forgotten corner of the internet. I knew his employer, his boss's name, his car's VIN number, thank you, public records, and parking violations. I wasn't going to ruin him. That would be too generous. I was going to do something worse. I was going to let him ruin himself. I just needed to set the stage. That night, I sent Lisa a text. Hope you're having fun. Left dinner in the fridge. No reply. Didn't need one. By morning, I had a burner phone, a new email alias, and a notepad full of quiet little truths. Like how Nick's gym had a no fraternization clause in their employment contracts. How Lisa's company required disclosure of personal relationships with vendors, like Nick's fitness business, which hosted her team's annual wellness retreat. Small things. Not explosive, but combine them right. You've got a detonation with plausible deniability. I created an anonymous email. Something sterile. Something corporate sounding. Subject: confidential ethics concern. Attached a few screen grabs. Calendar events. A photo or two, blurred just enough to spark questions without giving them answers. I BCC'd the HR department at Lisa's company and the owner of Nick's gym. No accusations. Just enough smoke to start a fire. Then I waited. Lisa came home Sunday night. She looked tired. Not the kind of tired you get from hiking or late-night board games. The kind that comes from secrets that didn't stay buried. I was reading a book when she walked in. "Hey," she said, voice low. "Hey." I replied without looking up. She stood there for a second, like she didn't recognize the man on the couch. Maybe she didn't. I barely recognized myself. "How was your weekend?" "Good," she said too fast. "Relaxing." I nodded. "Glad you got what you needed." She blinked. "What's that supposed to mean?" I looked at her then. Really looked. The thing you went looking for, I said. I hope it was worth it. She opened her mouth to speak, then closed it. Words betrayed her the way she'd betrayed me. That night, we slept in the same house but not the same world. Monday morning, I was already awake when she left. She didn't kiss me goodbye. Didn't say anything. Just grabbed her bag and vanished like a scene change. At 10:12 a.m., I got a notification. Delivery to Ethicsat. Read by recipient. And just like that, the fuse was lit. I didn't expect fireworks. This wasn't about spectacle. This was about erosion, the kind that starts quiet and ends with a landslide. By Thursday, she looked different. Edgy. Distracted. Everything okay at work? I asked sweetly. She paused. Yeah. Just busy. I nodded, sipping my coffee. You're good at staying busy. She didn't answer. Just grabbed her phone and walked out of the room. That weekend, she tried to be nice. Movie night, homemade cookies, even offered to rub my shoulders. I accepted everything but didn't give anything back. Because she wasn't being kind. She was being careful. Nick, meanwhile, was suddenly less present. Fewer mentions. Fewer smiles. One night, she even deleted his contact from her phone in front of me. I didn't ask. I just raised my eyebrows like a man who already knew. What they don't tell you about revenge is how lonely it is. You get no parades. No applause. Just a front row seat to someone else's unraveling. But I wasn't done. The next move? That one would be personal. And poetic. 2 weeks passed. 2 long, symmetrical weeks. Lisa went quiet. Not just in speech, her whole presence shrank. She moved around the house like a tenant on a month-to-month lease, folding laundry with precision, cooking half-hearted meals, asking if I needed anything with a brittle smile that cracked at the corners. And I was polite, cordial, almost suspiciously agreeable. The kind of agreeable that makes guilt squirm like it's sitting on hot coals. Because she knew, or at least suspected, something had shifted. Nick had gone radio silent. No social media updates. No gym selfies. No unsolicited heart emojis on our lunch breaks. I hadn't just thrown a wrench in their affair. I'd removed the whole engine. On a Thursday morning, Lisa walked into the kitchen holding her phone like it had personally betrayed her. They're launching an internal review, she said flatly. I didn't look up from my toast. Who is? My company. Someone sent an anonymous complaint. HR is looking into possible conflicts of interest. Her voice made air quotes. I said, buttering the last piece. People these days. She stared at me for a beat too long. I met her gaze and held it. She blinked first. But that wasn't the move. That wasn't even the warm-up. See, in 3 days, it would be our wedding anniversary. 9 years. 9 years of road trips and furniture assembly and inside jokes about people we no longer talk to. 9 years of something resembling love. Until it wasn't. Lisa assumed I'd forgotten. She hadn't brought it up. Neither had I. But I had something planned. Saturday morning, I told her to dress nice. Where are we going? She asked cautiously. You'll see. She wore the navy dress. The one I always said made her look like the version of herself that first made me fall for her. I wore the same suit from our engagement dinner. She noticed. Didn't say anything. I drove us to the Blue Willow, the restaurant we couldn't afford when we were newlyweds, but always said we'd return to one day when things were better. I'd made the reservation a month earlier, back when I still didn't know I'd be pulling the pin on our marriage like it was a grenade. We were seated by the window, candlelight flickering, soft jazz bleeding from hidden speakers. It was almost cinematic. Almost. She kept waiting for the speech, the toast, the apology. But I just ordered her favorite wine and smiled like I meant it. Then the waiter brought the gift box. She looked at it, then at me. What's this? Open it. Inside, nestled in black velvet, was a small photo album. Leather-bound. Minimalist. Elegant. She opened it slowly. Page 1. A picture of our first apartment, crooked blinds, pizza boxes stacked like trophies. Page 2. A Polaroid of our honeymoon, both of us sunburned, grinning like idiots. Page 3. A printout of her calendar invite to the cabin. Getaway with N. 3 p.m. sat evergreen tree red heart. Her fingers froze. Page 4. A screenshot of a text. Nick, you sure he won't find out? Lisa, he's a golden retriever. He'll just wag his tail and wait. Page 5. A still frame from my video. Lisa in a robe. Nick shirtless. Both laughing. She slammed the album shut. I took a sip of wine. Happy anniversary. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. Before you say anything, I said, setting my glass down, know this. I'm not here for drama. I'm here for closure. You followed me? She whispered. No. I caught up. She reached for the album again, but her hands were shaking. I thought she stopped, swallowing hard. I thought we were fixing things. No, Lisa. You thought you were covering your tracks. I was just sweeping the dirt into a neat little pile. I never meant to get caught. I tilted my head. Yeah, that's the part that always stings, isn't it? She looked away, out the window, as if the streetlights could offer a lifeline. I've already spoken to a lawyer, I said, gently placing a manila envelope on the table. She didn't touch it. There's a proposed settlement in there. Fair. Quiet. No public mess. No social media drama. Just a clean break. Her eyes glistened. She bit her lip, classic move, one she used when caught in a lie during arguments over groceries, schedules, life. I was lonely, she said finally. You stopped seeing me. No, I corrected. I stopped chasing you. There's a difference. She flinched. Do you want to yell? I offered. Throw a glass? Blame me for working too late? For not watching that dumb show you liked? She didn't respond. Thought not. We finished dinner in silence. She didn't touch her wine. I tipped generously. As we stood to leave, I said, you know, you were right about one thing. She looked up, startled. What? I am a golden retriever. I smiled. Loyal. Quiet. And now? You'll miss me every time someone else lets you down. The drive home was wordless. She stared out the window like the passing streetlights might offer her a loophole. Her knuckles were wide on the door handle, as if the car ride itself was the punishment. But I wasn't interested in punishment. I was interested in accuracy. We pulled into the driveway around 9:45 p.m. I killed the engine and stepped out. She hesitated before following. I didn't wait. The front door creaked open like it was just as tired of pretending. Inside, the house was neat. Organized. Suspiciously so. The hallway mirror had been cleaned. The shoes lined up like soldiers. The throw blanket, my blanket, was folded on the couch. It wasn't folded yesterday. She was trying. But trying doesn't erase what you did when you weren't. She hovered near the doorway like a kid in trouble, holding that manila envelope like it might sprout fangs. I poured myself a glass of water, took a slow sip, and said without looking at her, you can stay here until things are sorted. No war. No drama. But don't mistake my calm for forgiveness. Her voice cracked. You really want a divorce? I turned, leaned against the counter. No, I wanted a wife. That landed. She blinked fast like she could clear away the weight of that sentence. Do you love him? I asked. The question dropped between us like a brick. No, she whispered. Good, I said. Because after this, you won't even like him. She frowned. What does that mean? I didn't answer. Just finished my water, rinsed the glass, and went upstairs. She didn't follow. The next morning, the cracks widened. Nick showed up at her office. Loud. Unscheduled. I know because her assistant, Jessica, has been quietly on my side since the ethics complaint started swirling. She emailed me the office memo with the subject line. Didn't age well. Apparently, Nick confronted Lisa in the lobby. Something about being thrown under the bus. About his life falling apart. About lies. She denied everything. Called him unstable in front of a group of junior staffers. I didn't need to be there. I already knew the script. See, Lisa thought she was playing chess. But she was playing Operation. And I'd already removed every organ from the board with surgical precision. By noon, I'd received a call from my lawyer confirming she'd opened the envelope and called to discuss revisions. That was expected. What wasn't? She offered to walk away with less than half. Guilt is the weirdest math. I told him, draft it. Send it. Let her sign while she still feels bad. That night, she cooked dinner. Spaghetti carbonara. My favorite. She lit a candle. Played the playlist we made on our second anniversary, the one we stopped listening to sometime around year 5. I sat down, ate quietly. She watched me, eyes wide, voice gentle. I know I can't fix it, she said, but I want to try to be better. To start over. I chewed slowly. Swallowed. Set my fork down. You remember when we adopted Max? I asked. She blinked, caught off guard. Our dog. Yeah, I nodded. Remember what you said? She nodded, hesitant. He was skittish. You told me not to push him. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. You said, he flinches even when you pet him. That's not a dog, that's a shell. She stared. That's us now, I said. Except I'm the one flinching. Her lip trembled, but I didn't stop. You didn't just cheat, I said. You rewrote our story with a Sharpie. Permanent. Sloppy. And now I'm the only one trying to remember what the original draft even looked like. She reached for my hand. I moved mine to my lap. The silence that followed was heavier than any argument we ever had. I spent the next week executing Phase 3, reclamation. I changed the passwords, closed the joint account, moved my savings to a private bank in my name only. Not out of revenge, out of necessity. When trust dies, logistics need to survive. I canceled the joint gym membership, booked a moving truck, scheduled therapy solo. She asked if she could come with me. I said no. That Friday, a letter arrived from her HR department. She didn't open it at the mailbox. She waited until she was inside, pacing like she already knew it wasn't a congratulations card. Suspended, she muttered, scanning the paper. Pending investigation. I didn't look up from my book. They think I misused resources and had a relationship with a contractor. Did you? I asked flatly. Her jaw tightened. You set this in motion. No, I corrected. You did. I just took notes. On Sunday, I loaded the moving truck. My stuff, boxed and labeled. Books, tools, my guitar. Even the weird mug from my college roommate she always hated. She stood on the porch, arms crossed over the same hoodie she wore on her weekend getaway. It looked different now. Smaller. Sadder. You're really leaving, she said, voice thin. No, I said. You did. I'm just packing up what's left. I didn't leave with fanfare. There was no dramatic suitcase dragging, no door slamming, no sad piano music playing in the background. Just a quiet Sunday morning, a rented truck, and the soft scrape of cardboard against hardwood. Lisa hovered by the kitchen like a ghost waiting for her cue. You sure you have everything? She asked, arms wrapped tightly around herself. Everything I need, I replied, not looking back. You can keep the coffee maker. That was her tell, the coffee maker. She once said she'd rather lose a kidney than give up that overpriced machine with the milk steamer and the stupid blue light that blinked for no reason. The fact that I was offering it like a peace token told her all she needed to know. This wasn't a break. This was an exit. I didn't hug her goodbye. Didn't say take care. Just nodded once, as you might to a neighbor you're never going to see again. Then I got in the truck and drove. I didn't go far. Just far enough. The new apartment was small but clean. No shared closet. No lipstick-stained wine glasses. No ghosts. The first night was the hardest. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was loud. Every quiet minute felt like a challenge. But the morning after? That was something else. I woke up and didn't have to wonder who Lisa was texting. I didn't have to decode her sighs or interpret her absence. I just made eggs, black coffee, sat by the window, watched the world turn without me for once trying to steer it. It felt like freedom. On the third day, I wrote the letter. Not to her. To myself. Dear me. You did everything right. That won't feel true for a while. You'll replay it, rewind it, re-edit the scenes until you convince yourself you missed something, that this was somehow your fault. But it wasn't. You loved her. Fully. Clumsily. Honestly. You ignored the signs because hope has a habit of dressing up as denial. You forgave her more than once, and she mistook it for weakness. That's on her. She had someone who folded laundry, remembered birthdays, and made a point to never let her car run on empty. She traded that for adrenaline and attention from someone who treats relationships like gym memberships flashy, seasonal, and easy to cancel. Don't waste time comparing yourself to Nick. Nick didn't win. He was just the next mistake on her playlist. A remix of all her previous insecurities and unfinished business. A mirror that flattered instead of challenged. You were never in competition with him. You were in competition with the version of herself she hadn't figured out how to like yet. And when someone doesn't love themselves, they can't love you either. Not properly. You aren't perfect. You got quiet when you should have spoken. You retreated when you should have stood tall. But you never cheated. Never lied. Never made her feel small to feel big. You were steady. And one day, someone will find beauty in that instead of boredom. Right now, grief feels like gravity. Like every step forward costs triple. That's okay. Keep stepping. Don't text her when you're lonely. Don't answer when she accidentally calls. She's not sorry. She's nostalgic. Big difference. And when she sends that long message, the one with, I didn't appreciate you, or I didn't realize what I had read it once, then delete it. You're not someone's lesson. You're someone's partner. And the next person who gets that version of you, they won't have to be reminded to hold on. Sincerely. You. I printed it. folded it, slipped it into the nightstand. Not for keepsake, just insurance. For the days the past tries to claw its way back. Because it will. They always circle back. That night, I got my first message from her. "Hey, just wondering if you got there okay." I stared at it. No punctuation. No apology. Just curiosity masquerading as care. I didn't respond. Not because I was cruel, but because healing demands distance. You can't cauterize a wound with the same fire that burned you. 2 days later, she sent a photo. It was Max, our dog, curled up on the couch, nose tucked into the blanket I left behind. "He misses you." Still no. "I'm sorry." Still no accountability. That's the thing with people like Lisa. They don't seek forgiveness. They seek restoration of comfort. But she wouldn't find it here. A week passed. Then 2. I started running again. Signed up for a weekend woodworking class. Ate dinner with real forks instead of takeout chopsticks. Started remembering what I liked about myself when no one else was watching. The world didn't end. It just got quieter. And in that quiet, I started to rebuild. Not out of spite. Out of strength. The 3rd message came on a Thursday. "Can we talk?" Just once. Still no ownership. "No, I hurt you." Just a question built on the hope that time would smooth over betrayal like a wrinkle in a bedsheet. I didn't answer. But I didn't delete it either. Some part of me wanted the reminder. Not of her, but of who I'd become since leaving. A man who could stand still without needing someone else's chaos to feel alive. That Friday, a letter arrived at my new address. Handwritten. Her handwriting. No return address, just my name scrawled across the front like she couldn't decide if it was an invitation or a confession. Inside, 6 pages. Rambling, unfocused, full of broken sentences and empty pauses. "I miss the way you made me feel safe," one line said. Another, "Nick wasn't what I thought he was." Of course he wasn't. He never was. Nick was a Band-Aid on a broken bone. The final sentence read, "I just want to explain. Please." And that's what did it. Not the betrayal. Not the lies. But the idea that after all this, she still thought this was about her explanation. I folded the letter, placed it back in the envelope, walked it out to the dumpster behind my apartment and dropped it in without ceremony. That was the return message. Silence. By the time April rolled in, I'd moved on from the raw ache to something quieter. More resolved. I didn't wake up wondering what she was doing. I didn't care who she was texting. The space she used to occupy now held peace, and let me tell you, that stuff is underrated. Then one morning, she showed up. In person. Knocked on my door like we were still on speaking terms, like our ending had been a scene break instead of a full season finale. I opened it because I'm polite, not because I was curious. She stood there holding that same envelope I had thrown away. Different one, sure, but same script. "I needed to see you," she said, eyes wide and glassy. "I don't need to see you," I replied. She opened her mouth to plead, but stopped. And for once, I saw it. She understood. The days after her visit felt like watching a storm that never arrived. Just clouds. Pressure. No rain. She didn't text. Didn't email. Didn't knock again. Maybe she finally realized that when someone leaves without slamming the door, it's not because they're unsure. It's because they're done. And me? I made a decision. Not because I was bitter. Because I was ready. I took the final divorce papers from the manila envelope she left behind and signed every page. No scribbles. No dramatic flourishes. Just ink, like a scalpel making the last cut before healing begins. I mailed them back certified. No note. The following week, her HR department finalized their investigation. Nick had been fired. Lisa was reassigned. She tried to contact me again, once. A long email. Contrite. Even poetic in places. She talked about growing pains and losing sight of what matters. I didn't read past paragraph 2. Because growth doesn't come in paragraphs. It comes in silence. 1 year to the day. The lease on the old house expired. She moved out last month. I drove by once, just to confirm it was empty. Not out of nostalgia. Out of closure. The porch light was off. The swing we never fixed still hung crooked. That house had held everything. Laughter. Arguments. Late-night takeout. And, eventually, betrayal. But standing there, watching it from the safety of my new car, I realized something. It wasn't my house anymore. It hadn't been for a long time. And neither was she. These days, I sleep through the night. I keep my closet organized. I have a cat now, quiet, low maintenance, doesn't lie. Sometimes, I think about the man I was before her. Then I think about the man I became because of her. And I prefer this version. Not because I'm hardened, because I'm clear. And as for revenge, there was no need for fireworks. No need for flame. She set the match. I just made sure she stood close enough to feel the heat. And when the ashes settled, I walked away without a single burn. That's the thing about being underestimated. They never hear you coming. Until you're already gone.